You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Monique, you're from Texas. You heard that conversation there with Matt. And when you start breaking these things down, there are a lot of people who are like, oh my God, we can't trust Latinos, we can't trust white people, we can't trust anybody. But the reality is, he talked about the popularity of Obama. Multiracial coalitions are how Democrats have won. Even when you look at these numbers here, it's really how Joe Biden won. Just your thoughts on that discussion there.
Am I free to discuss what can't be discussed now?
You can discuss whatever hell, yes, you can discuss. Go. Well, no, first of all, go ahead. First of all, I'm gonna get specifically to white voters. I'm gonna get specifically to white voters in our next segment, but go ahead. I'll give you far more leeway than Scott because you have far more restraint than Scott does, but go ahead.
Okay, well, that might change after tonight.
We're going to have to take over the show at some point.
Just do something, Scott, right? Yeah. So there was a huge disinformation campaign, and we know it. It was disinformation, misinformation, yellow journalism, propaganda, out and out lies, and it targeted and preyed upon ignorance and need. And what that ended up doing is convincing a sect of people, a section of a grouping of people, that there was no Democratic candidate that would be able to meet their needs or be sufficient. They were under attack. They were under threat, no matter who the candidate was. So Bernie Sanders, was Kamala Harris, was Joe Biden. It ain't matter. That was what that messaging was. My issue, though, is that to me, these are underbelly conversations. We're going to win this election, and we're going to win it because of Black folks, Black women, Black men. I'm going to give y'all something. I'm not sure how much I'm going to give you. Maybe some candy corn. But Black folks, right, made sure we got where we were going, which is our obligation because we need to get there. And our Latinx community struggled in some part because of ignorance and because of lack of information. White folks, yeah, not so much. We are minorities, and the white people here are still majorities. And white women voted against their interests. The majority of people who are poor voted against their interests. White males who don't have education voted against their own interests in favor of this racist, ignorant, amoral, certified fool, incompetent president. They said, give me more, give me more, give me more. And that to me is where we have to drop our anchor. Yeah, DNC could have done more on Latinx, but that's just not the story. The story is all the people who were saying we're with you in the polls, and when they were at the council meetings, and then when they went into the voting place, or when they filled out their absentee ballot, they voted with their supremacy that they don't even have, that is a figment of their imagination, that is years gone by. But they voted for the man that's trying to push it forward. And that, to me, is the conversation that we have to have.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, go ahead.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, very much so. And, I if you think about it, 1 out of 2 voting Americans, close to it, voted for Donald Trump against the backdrop of coronavirus, a failed economy, and health care. Think about that. That's more disturbing than the 35% of Latino men in Florida who voted for Donald Trump, believing that somehow Biden was going to be socialistic or somewhat social. It just makes no sense. It says more about America than it does about Donald Trump. That's why after this campaign is done, after we get a new president, we got a lot of work to do. And I'll get into that when you ask about that. But let's talk about the underbelly of the Latino community and the Hispanic community. We know Black people and brown people, we suffer from intra-racism, right? We don't talk about it, but there's intra-racism, right? We think because Donald Trump is anti-immigration that all Latinos, all Hispanic care about that. When really, in my opinion, the Mexican population, Mexican Americans care about that, but even they don't like illegal immigration because they came, quote, did it the right way and are here legally, right? Cubans and Venezuelans and Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, they all have their own issues. White people and others sometimes think that groups of people of color are monolithic. We are not. Black people ain't monolithic, right? Even Black people have this intra-racism piece historically with the brown bag test and light-skinned African-Americans and dark-skinned African-Americans. You talk about white Hispanics who are identifying with white people and dark Hispanics who come from Brazil and Puerto Rico who have hair like mine when I had hair, but also share my complexion. We got to tear the cover off this, and the Democrats have to get a directed message at each of these groups because they owe their leadership. They owe their leadership in the White House to each of these groups. And if they don't, we've got to make them pay attention because we've got to demand something in return. Biden and Harris are going to owe people of color, women of color, Black, brown people a lot after this election. And there's going to be a long line, right? And even still, we didn't take the Senate back. Spent $300 million, and we still couldn't turn America around when it comes to the Senate. And so there's lots of work to do, but we cannot run from this intra-racism and the non-monolithic nature of Black people and brown people and ask and demand their vote, get our vote, and we must have something in return.
Robert Patillo.
That's a collective piece for people of color.
Robert.
Well, just to piggyback off of what was said previously, let's understand Democrats have confused the issue of diversity and power. Diversity just means you got some people of color around the table. Power means that those people of color actually have the ability to influence, to direct dollars, to direct the way that you are conducting your campaign, to conduct messaging. The Democratic Party did a poor job of actually talking to and listening to the people they wanted to turn out and vote for them. And they thought that the K Street lobbyists, that the New York and the San Francisco focus groups and marketing firms could put together a non-offensive message that could bring together a big tent and also have suburban white soccer moms and people from inner city Chicago or Atlanta and Detroit, and also a Cuban from South Florida, a hippie from Berkeley, and all under one messaging. What the Republicans do, on the other hand, is listen to their voters. President Trump came in tabula rasa. There was no clear-cut policies that he had. Whatever the crowd shouted out, that became the campaign messaging, whether it was build that wall, lock her up, drain the swamp, or anything else. Because of that, he elicited a fierce loyalty, a fierce almost cult-like following among his followers that Democrats simply were not able to match. And this is why that polling data was not able to capture that passion. So even though it said Biden was up 8 points here or 14 points here, what it didn't capture was the fact that these Trump voters would take a bullet for him because they felt that he represented them as an oppressed and angry white minority. And that also spilled over to other people who felt like they were part of marginalized groups that were not being heard by the Democrats. So if Democrats are going to continue to not listen to their base and not listen to the people they claim to represent, then they're going to continue to see this small group metastasize into growing into a larger problem. The fact that we are here and we're not going to know the outcome of this election for the end of this week, maybe into next week, for a president who allowed 250,000 people to die, 60 million people to be unemployed as a result of a virus, international incident after incident, who was impeached earlier this year, and you can barely squeak out a win by your fingernails. That means you got a whole lot of work to do between now and the next election, particularly when you can't flip seats like Jamie Harrison in South Carolina, where we have so many tapes of Lindsey Graham lying that we could just play commercials of just Lindsey Graham lying for the rest of this year at like some kind of Christmas special. So Democrats have to do some real soul searching. Don't take this win as a sign that you've turned the party around.
Teresa.
No,
Scott. No, Scott. No. Wait.
That's the power of whiteness.
Come on.
Okay, come on. Is there more to that?
I didn't want to interrupt my brother because we rarely are so in sync. So
go ahead.
I wanted to yield. But listen, Democrats don't have to soul search.
Right.
Black people, right? We're Democrats. And we did what we were supposed to do. It's like when people tell you to go to church and the Bible says you are the church. So where Democrats are concerned, people are telling me to get with the Democrats, and I'm like, I am the Democrats. I'm a Black woman 50 and over. I'm a Democrat. I got you an election. Figure this shit out. Sorry, I said that out loud. Oh God. Listen. Help me, Holy Ghost. The reason the Latinx are having a problem that the Black people don't have is because there's not a shared experience. Black people, though not monolithic, vote in unity. And I just watched Hannah from 1619 Project talk about this earlier today. Slavery is in our roots. Like if we back up where we came from and we go back to where we landed in this country before we came from wherever. Because if we're Black, you can say Africa, you can say Barbados, you can say Bahamas, you can say Jamaica, you can say, yes, and I'm trying to get y'all to start thinking about the Black woman who's about to be Madam Vice President because she's Black. But in all of our shared experience is a root of slavery and then an appendage, a branch of discrimination and Jim Crow and disenfranchisement and oppression and suppression. We have all that in common. So no matter where we come from, we're together. It's not the same. Roland, as you listed off all the places, whether it's Puerto Rico, whether it's Mexico, or whether it's Cuba or wherever, those are different experiences. And they align themselves, even if it's just in their heads, differently. Cuban Americans are white in their head. And they voted like rich white people, which is what they've been doing. This is not new. This is not new. And then immigrants who are concerned because they came legally, and this is their chance to run from a socialist, oppressive nation to have their big shot, their American pie, to dream their impossible dream. I mean, they are in some Don Quixote-ness right now. And then the disinformation told them that Joe Biden was going to take that. Joe Biden is no more a socialist than Donald Trump. But the misinformation campaign told them something that we couldn't snatch away. But I say all that to say, an aside, white people is where we need to focus. And I hope that that's our next segment because I have more to say.
I wish y'all let me host this damn show. So I'm going to get to that. But I'm going to need y'all like calm your asses down. Teresa, go ahead, comment on this topic.
You guys are phenomenal. I stand on your shoulders. But I think, look, honestly, you guys all really just hit the touch points. I think this is more so a reevaluation of the Democratic Party in itself. Monique hit it right on the head when she said, as a Black woman, 50 and over, we are the Democrats. And so because we have always followed the narrative of what Democrats are supposed to do, we do vote. We do come out in droves. We do support. We do unify. We do tell our neighbors. We bring our friends and we go vote together and take pictures and hashtag. So there are so many opportunities that we've done to unify, but it's almost like it's missing the bell here when it comes to the larger notion of who's at the table when these decisions are being made to allocate funds. So yes, the bigger white consulting firms are, and I told you, Roland, on one of the posts, I was getting to this point. They are getting the contracts. And when they get the contracts, what do? They subcontract the smaller minority firms and say, hey, tell us where the money needs to go, but then they give us a small little minority budget and wonder why their margins are small when it comes to some of the vote count, because they didn't invest early on. And I hope the Democratic Party takes this as a larger lesson, that even through a pandemic, the votes have tripled. Unbelievable scenes are coming out of counties. Unbelievable scenes are coming out of major cities. And the reason why they are coming out is because people have been tired of not being listened to. You know, Rob was hitting it right on the head when he said it literally is a cult. Lock her up. Right? It's so catchy that you almost believe it. And essentially that is what a cult is. And so when you have someone, you know, who is literally in the White House with all the power, who just looks like they can do whatever they want, say whatever they want without consequence, you get impeached, you get detention, and then you still get back to the seat, right? It's baffling, but it also shows you the power that they have, or seemingly. It's, you know, it's all about impressionable visits. So ultimately, I hope the Democratic Party is looking to call Monique, Rob, A. Scott Bolden, myself, and of course Roland, to strategize on a better future of what the party looks like, but also allocating those resources effectively and efficiently so we don't have to go through this again.
All right. Y'all done on this topic?
Yes.
All right.
We can move on. Yes.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, the folks at Seek.com, black-owned company founded by Mary Spio. They, of course, a virtual reality company. You can check out their content at Seek.com, CEEK.com. You can do so, of course, with these VR headsets. You can look at it, of course, on your regular device or your pad or your computer. But if you want to experience being in the room, you can use this headset right here. All you simply do is just pop in your cell phone in here, pop it on, and then put this headset on, and you can literally experience their content in virtual reality. And so allows for you to do a 360-degree view of the room. But also, folks, they have the 360-degree 4D headphones right here. These are Bluetooth headphones. They have complete surround sound in terms of as you hear the particular music. Gamers love them as well when they're playing their games. And so it's just phenomenal bass in these headphones as well. You can get one or both devices at Seek.com using this promo code RMVIP 2020, RMVIP 2020. So we certainly thank the folks at Seek.com for being a partner with us here at Roland Martin Unfiltered. All right.